right, so this is my review for episode 3 of Superman and Lois. Another good freaking episode. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The beginning of this episode, it started with like, Clark and them just kind of just in the house painting, everything's going on. And all of a sudden, like Clark hears something, he zeroes into it, and then goes and tries to stop it. Now, initially, when he was going to try to stop it, like it's a midday broad daylight sequence, right? And like freaking a bridge was falling, right? And I was like, oh man, the CG starting to look weird, like because the lighting. But then they started doing some stuff with the aerial stuff and him saving people, and and then it just kicked back up. So I was it was a small, brief amount of time when the lighting was hitting the bridge. We're kind of like, the quality of the VFX was a little touch and go there. But then everything else about the episode, I loved it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like the show is giving me Smallville nostalgia, while at the same as that time giving me things and elements of the Superman lore and the Superman, even Christopher Reeve's stuff. Like even like just Lana and Sarah, right? Lana in this episode, like kind of came off in the beginning of the episode. It's like, oh Lord, this is what we got to deal with. We got to deal with like Alana just jaded and just like overbearing, like her own like antagonist that she have like a hidden arc or whatever. One thing that I will say, and me and Lucas are gonna go in depth into it later, but every single episode where a character has this like moment, they don't draw it out. They don't drag it out. By the end of the episode, Lana and Sarah come up with this amazing revelation about each other that I was like, bet now I can get behind Sarah and I can get behind Lana. Not just Sarah because, Jordan likes her or because it could be a possible love triangle. Like, no, like there's real reasons for me to actually care about the character Sarah. And at the same exact time, Lana was kind of just been in the back. So I was like, why, what's the purpose of Lana in this? Her love interest is, I don't know. I just didn't know what the purpose was. This episode left mention and understanding and clarity, as well as even a friendship between Clark and Lana, which is really interesting now that they're parents. And the other thing about it, bruh, look, if you're a Smallville fan, right, you go back and look at season 1 of Smallville, and you go back and look at how Clark and Lana kind of, maneuvered around each other, it's so symbiotic, bro. Like, it's just the circumstances of who Lana and Clark decided to be also laid a foundation of who Jordan and Sarah are based on their parents. It's crazy. Like the paradigm shift is so crazy in this one. Another thing I did like in this episode was Jordan. Like, I mean, not Jordan, but Jonathan. Like Jonathan, honestly, is a really good brother, man. Like he's doing everything he can to understand the situation, be his own man, be his own brother. And I'm just like, he really is like a superboy. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, from an emotional standpoint and all the things that is really going on, like he is handling it very well. And he takes the hits and keep on going. That's one of the things that, again, I said this before, is that between Jordan and Jonathan, they take off a piece of who Clark and Superman really are at their fold. Clark is used to having all the ability and having all the this and that, and just taking the hits, right? Just taking the backlash of what that does with his relationships, what that does with, his emotional outpour, but still at the same time giving. That's definitely Jonathan in the foundational side. But then if you look at who Clark is and what Clark goes through with his emotional stuff and trying to figure out who he is and trying to figure out why things are happening the way they are, like he gets it and things are starting to happen. The other thing in this one, there's a dope fight scene in this that came out of nowhere. And I was kind of just like, I don't want to spoil it, but I love what they did with the power. Like, it's like what they're doing with the powers in this, right? That's all I like. I mean, there's moments in Smallville, like I think around like season 9, specifically when Clark really had his stuff fully realized, where he was really utilizing all his abilities all at once. But he wasn't Superman yet. Like even the season 10 homecoming episode, he got to see what he was supposed to become, but we never actually really got to see it. And it's like they are really doing some amazing things with it, even down to him being Clark. Like, I was like, there's a sequence at the very last, and I was like, this is hilarious, bro. But then you got another story arc that's going on with Lois, and they are really pushing some interesting narratives. But at the same time, there's the person that she's working for in this episode, right? Started from last episode. And I was kind of like, oh Lord, here we go. Like, it's gonna have to be pulling teeth, and Lois is gonna have to kind of grit her teeth and do this and do that. Like, no, they were like, okay, this is where the episode starts, but then this is where we're gonna resolve. And I love that. Like, there's resolutions to each step of each episode. Now, there is something going on in this episode that I am very caught off guard by, and I have no idea what is really going on. Um, it has to do with who Superman was fighting and what is really going on with Morgan Edge. I have some theories, but I'm going to talk about them with Lucas when we do our spoiler discussions. Either way, this is a great episode. And again, I think I just barely scratched the surface, because one of the things about this episode that laid a really interesting foundation is trust, compromise, and understanding. Trust, compromise, understanding is the foundation of this episode, whether it be from Clark with his boys, whether it be from Lana with Sarah, whether it be from Lois and her integrity of what she's trying to do with, and also in connection with the town. It's just some really great things happening in this that I am in love with, and they all the way Superman. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll talk to you guys a bit later on. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Peace, guys.